people? Welcome to the League Talk Podcast. I'm your host, Shane Youman. Joining me is a real hometown hero from New Iberia, Louisiana, wide receiver and return specialist for the Denver Broncos, Mr. Diontae Spencer. D Spence, what's going on, man?
Good, man. How you doing, bro?
Doing good, man. Just relaxing, taking it easy. Like I know, man, it's not too much we can do during these days, so just taking advantage when I can. I know you're out there in training camp, man. How's that been going?
Pretty good, man. We just finished wrapping everything up. Got a couple of days off, just to, take some time off, get the body back right before we crank it up for Monday night. But everything was good, man. I stayed healthy, and I'm just looking forward to the season now.
Definitely got to preserve the body, especially no preseason games, man. Just straight training camp and hopping in that thing right away. Got to get down to business and make sure we put together a good, productive season, not only individually, but from a team standpoint as well. So, man, we from the same hometown, bruh. I think we might have to use some closed caption for this episode if we get a little excited and start talking that B-Town slang. People may not understand what we're saying, but being from New Iberia, man, and playing sports, I know you played multiple sports growing up. I know you had a strong family dynamic. When did that all start for you? When did you start playing sports, man?
I started at a real young age. I remember Pee Wee football and Iberians Little League was like the two things that popped to my mind. So I played Iberians baseball, and then Pee Wee football. I played that all throughout till I got ready to go to middle school. But I just, for some reason, like growing up, I always just loved sports, and I love having a football or any type of ball I always had with me. So it just kind of grew on me, and as time developed, man, I just started perfecting my craft and just kind of just stayed at it and stuck with it, and it paid off. So
that's what's up, man. I know playing those two sports coming up, and I know you played a little basketball and you was on that track too. When did those come? When did you start in track and then in basketball?
Well, because high school baseball, it kind of
yeah
with track. So I think I ran like maybe 2 track meets in high school, and I just ran. You know what I'm saying? But I ran my junior in college, which kind of helped me become faster going into my senior year. But man, basketball was something I always liked. It was a point in time where it was like, man, should I give this up? Should I not give this up? Because as I got older, bro, it was to me, I took things more seriously, and I was like, I gotta like pick something. But I stuck with it. I felt like everything I did throughout high school kind of helped me become a good football player. So basketball was one of those things. I thought about giving it up.
Yeah.
Stayed with it, and then baseball. I had a chance to play going to college also, but once I started my freshman year at McNeese and I didn't redshirt, I was just like, I'm gonna just stick with football. So I threw all my marbles in that basket, and I just took off.
For sure, man. I'm a little bitter about the whole baseball thing. I'm a baseball player, so I would have loved to see what you could do on that baseball field, man. It kind of hurt me when I knew you wasn't gonna do nothing at McNeese on a baseball field. But it ain't nothing like a good old athlete, man. You just hop out the bed and jump on the court, jump on the track, jump on the field, do whatever you want. But that's just a credit to you, loving sports and, like you said, always carrying the ball with you or doing something, whether it's racing your friends in the neighborhood or whatever. But you were always known as a speedster. So tell me this, because you're known as a speedster, where did that come from? Did it come from Big Ump? Marvin Bazooka Spencer. I know when we came up, Bazooka was the man, bro. Bazooka was the man on the baseball field and the football field. He was always fast. So where did that speed come from, man? Was it I'm sure you're gonna try to claim that. I'm sure you're gonna try to say it came from him.
He don't really claim the speed. He likes to claim the swag. Like he feel like everything swag wise I got from him. Cause I mean he like in Pee Wee football, I mean I stayed wristband up, spat. Like he was running the Hibbett Sports Car the street, getting a spat tape. And I ain't know nothing about all that, but I know it made me look good. And
yeah.
If you gonna play good, you gotta look good. So my mom definitely was not a speedster. My dad, he more long distance. So I guess I can give Uncle speed. I can say, you know what I'm saying? Maybe I had to do something with the speed. I heard he was pretty good back in the day.
Yeah.
So I got to give him that. I'm going to give him that. So
For sure. Everybody knew Bazooka, man, when we was coming up playing. He played for the Oilers. I know when I was playing flag, he was on the Oilers. I played for the Falcons. And then we both played on the base. So, know your mom, your pops, RP Heater, man. Definitely a staple of the community with the barbershop and the things he did in Iberia. Just knowing Bazooka, though, man, I just had to ask that question. I know Bazooka be talking, though. He be talking, so I just had to know if he was talking about the speed. But the swag, too, that was all him. He always looked good on the field, man, every time he played. So, we talking about growing up in New Iberia, not a big city, not a whole lot to do, but you found a getaway in sports. You had that family support and throughout, even till this day. So speak on them high school days. You said you dibbled and dabbled with track. You played basketball. You played football. State champion in basketball. You played 4 sports, baseball. Talk about how you were able to keep your mind focused on all those things, because you never stopped, bro. It was no time to slow down. So talk about how you were able to stay focused, not only on the sport, but take care of business in the classroom, because you did have a high GPA. You did take care of your business in the classroom as well.
Yeah, I like to give all that credit to just my family, man. Like growing up, they made education like a huge factor, to the point where like I would feel like I thought I would get in trouble for making like a B or a C. It was crazy because like looking back on it, that standard was set so high at a young age that it helped me just develop overall as a person. And that's why I took academics so seriously. And it just helped me on the field too. Because I mean, that kind of like helped me become a better student of the game. And I was just always trying to find ways to make myself better, whether it's, either watching somebody or just locking in on TV a certain game, learning coverages. Once I started playing quarterback, that's where, my IQ in football kind of like just took over. But, man, I graduated top of my class.
Yeah.
That was like, for me, that was a big of accomplishment, more than anything, because I knew I played all those sports. But for me to accomplish that, man, it was just a testament to, how I pushed myself and how I made sure I was committed to my schoolwork. But, man, it was crazy. Sometimes I remember, like, just getting on a bus, like, after game, not really studying, but, like, just reviewing it, like, just going over, like, man, maybe I can, hurry up and knock this out on the bus and be ready for my test. And it just showed, how serious I was about, getting myself to the next level and getting to college and trying to get a scholarship. So I took all those things seriously, and I feel like it was a benefit, in the long run for me to be like that.
No doubt, it's showing right now on the football field, and we're gonna talk about the grind to the NFL in a moment. But if anybody, I know my mom wasn't gonna let you slip in the classroom. I know that for a fact. She wasn't gonna let you slip. But man, you talked about finding that time on the bus. Whatever time you had to take care of business in the classroom, you did it. Use your time wisely, and it's paying off. Obviously, like we said before, we going through that high school years. You playing quarterback, man, a skilled position. You said that IQ on the football field started to increase once you started playing that position. I'm sure playing on a baseball field or basketball court, that the fact that you were the quarterback, that probably enhanced your IQ in those two sports as well. Man, and I'm gonna resort back to baseball from time to time because, like I said, I was hoping I see you play that game, man, at the next level.
That's like
yeah, yeah. So when that decision came, man, graduated top of the class, excelling in all sports. You're getting that offer from McNeese. Any other schools came to the house and put that scholarship on the table besides McNeese?
So I think I had like Northwestern, Southeastern, pretty much all the Southern Conference schools in Louisiana. I visited Tulane. I went to Tulsa. I went on the unofficials at like U of H, but I was trying to walk on at LSU, but it came down to really what I wanted to do. And for me, my Aunt Pat, my Aunt Pat, she was a school teacher, and she was like, look, if you want to go there, we'll help out, take care of it. And like, it was a family decision. But when I seen them like trying to like, I'm like, man, look, it's a free scholarship. I'm not trying to put my family in no situation where we got loans and we got all kind of stuff. So I made a decision to stay close to home. I went to McNeese, and I felt like that just was the best decision for me and they wanted me to play wide receiver. And coming out of high school, I was considered an athlete. And like UL, I know UL had talked to me about playing cornerback, La Tech, and I was just like, look, I want to play receiver. And you know what I'm saying? And I hadn't talked to the baseball coach, and they was like, look, you can play both, because they knew I was a 3-star athlete, 3-star athlete coming out. And I was like, man, look, I'm going to just go to McNeese. And I felt like that was the best decision for me at the time. And it just, something right felt in me that was the best decision. So I went with it, and I didn't take it for granted. I didn't look back. I just made the best out of my situation, and I'm here. No.
For sure. Definitely. And, McNeese, a D1 AA powerhouse when it comes to football. You have the likes of Kerry Joseph, who's from New Iberia, Louisiana, that went there and did some special things. A couple of other folks. But you said something just now, man, and there was a couple of schools that were interested, and you even thought about walking on at LSU. You have that family support, you have people giving that advice, and then you started to realize, hey, this is probably a great opportunity for me. They'll let me play the position I want, and if I wanted to play baseball, I would be allowed to do that. Some kids, man, when it comes to playing at the next level, I wouldn't say they're selfish, but they start trying to do things that's not, or trying to put things there that's not really in the stack for them, or that's not in that plan for them. They try to force the issue when they probably should take advantage of an opportunity and realize that this school, although it may not be a big-time powerhouse or a Power 5 school, they're very interested in you, and they do want you to come and contribute to their program. So what would you say to some kids that are looking for the bright lights in the Power 5 school, or just thinking that the grass is greener because it is an LSU, because it is a TCU, a Texas A&M. What would you say to those kids that are trying to fight the feeling and not go to a D1 AA or a smaller mid-major school when it comes to college sports?
My biggest advice probably would be to just embrace the opportunity that you have, because sometimes it's not always the best situation. I know a lot of people, that grow up and take those big offers and get lost in the shuffle. They get lost in the shuffle. 2 years they're transferring, and then they got to sit out. Next thing you know, they're a senior. They don't have no film. They don't have. And for me, it was all about how can I get on the field as early as possible and a free education. Because at the end of the day, I knew, hey, look, growing up, maybe collectively as a family, I had everything I needed, but individually, my mom being a single parent, like I can't go to school and have to pay. So for me, it was always about getting a free education and coming out of there, no loans, no debt. So and that was just a plan I had in my head that if I can do that, get a free education, graduate, and chase my dreams and have put myself in a position to help my family once I'm done. That's the big picture. And some kids, they look for the LSU and all these big time schools, USC and all these other offers. But at the end of the day, man, God has a plan for you, and He knows your plan. And when He laid it out, the blueprint it was there for me. I'm like, I just had to make the decision that I felt right with, and I didn't let anybody, influence me to do this or go a different direction. At the end of the day, I was satisfied of making my own decision, and I felt like my family let me do that. So that was my biggest thing.
Sure, man. Definitely want to make sure the family doesn't get them. And even though if you would have made that choice, family would have been behind you 100%. They would have did everything they needed to do to make sure that you had the opportunity that you wanted. But you saw the bigger picture, like you said, and took advantage of an opportunity and knew that you were wanted at this particular program. So I know we spoke about family a lot. Any other inspiration coming up for you, playing the game of football or any sport, something or someone that kept you focused on chasing those dreams of playing those sports and having fun and excelling?
I grew up just watching a lot of sports, man. Like I had, like Deion Sanders and all those. Like I just grew up watching a lot of sports. Whether it was on TV, whether it was Friday night going to watch Nish, like Westgate, like all those different schools. I'm the kid on the other side of the fence. I want to pay attention, but I'm like, man, they also playing football over there. So I just like being around sports, and I feel like once I got to high school is when I started like taking it seriously. I always was a good athlete, but once I got to high school is when I kind of like locked in. It was like I got 4 years to this can make or break, my future, and I just took it seriously. And once I got to college, once my dad passed, that's when I locked in. It was like a totally different. I was a different animal. It kind of just reshaped how I looked at things, put me back into that. Let's focus up and let's get this done. Let's get the job done because I knew what I had to do. In the long run. So, inspiration, man. My family, my inspiration. My sister, my nephews, my nieces. Everybody, my mom, like all that's my inspiration. So
I got you. Before we jump into the McNeese days, man, you just mentioned something going to Westgate High School. When I was coming up, it was only 2 high schools, Cali High and Nish, Iberians Senior High. Now you're part of you went to a high school now that when you talk football, Westgate's pushing out guys after guys every single year. You, Tyron Walker, who else came out of there early on that kind of paved the way for these youngsters? But speak on that knowing that you went to that high school and you guys were making a name for yourself at that time in sports, not only football, basketball, track, baseball, so on and so forth. Jared Mitchell, speaking on him. What does it feel like, man, coming out of school like that? When you look at it, it's still not, Westgate might be 20 years in existence, maybe. And to have that many athletes come out of that high school and represent in college and even in professional sports. Talk on that, man, those days at Westgate and being around such great athletes.
I think being around, first of all, I feel like going to Westgate was probably like the best decision that I could have put myself into. Yes, I could have went to Nish, I could have went to Cali High, but I felt like Westgate, it kind of broadened my whole horizon. You know what I'm saying? Once I went there, the culture, the competition, everything, it kind of shaped me into like being a competitor because, man, you got to think about it. Like it's athletes in there.
Some dogs.
It's athletes that I would consider that was, talent-wise better than me. And that is what pushed me because I knew I wasn't there yet. And every year, I just tried to develop my game to get to close to that athlete. You know what I'm saying? Whether it was Dion, like Dion was older than me. Dion Anthony also went to the NFL. Dion was that guy, like he was that guy always from Pee Wee to high school. And I was the guy, like I had the talent, but Dion was physical. He had all the tools, body wise. Yeah, he had everything. And that's what pushed me. Those guys like that is what pushed me to become better. And once I left Westgate, man, it was like, I didn't redshirt. I went to McNeese, and I was just like, man, this is a credit to like just what school I went to. Just trying to be the best. So man, it's so many athletes that come up out of that school each and every year, and I hope it continues to grow. And we can shed the light and spotlight on those kids that that's doing great things. So it's a lot, man. It's a lot that helped me coming out of Westgate. A lot. So it was a lot of competition. I'm gonna just say that it was a lot of competition, and it can make or break you. So that's what I feel like helped me going to Westgate.
For sure, man. Just thinking, we probably can do a whole nother episode just talking about athletes, not only from New Iberia, but from Westgate High School, a school that hasn't been in existence for all that long, to have that many guys come out there and for you to name a few, for me to name a few. And you said it really helped mold you for that next level when you got to McNeese. You mentioned you didn't redshirt. And every day you had to strap it up and have it on your mind at practice, no matter what sport you played. You had to have it on your mind every day over there. And those guys brought a certain type of toughness because of where we grew up at as well. So all of that played a part.
You saying toughness? I mean, man, like if you don't got your mind right and you ain't tough, you're not gonna last long. Either you're not gonna last long, or eventually you're gonna get weeded out. And I felt like that's what kind of pushed me going to McNeese. I had that mentality already. Like, listen, I don't care who you are, what you done did. I'm coming in and I'm gonna work. And I feel like, we used to have the saying all the time in basketball. We'd be like, you got to work to win. So just that whole competition and breeding, that competitive nature, it just brought the best out of me. So.
I'm with you on that, man. So we talking about now you done left top 10 of your class, graduating from Westgate, playing with some dogs, all the guys you played with at that school and whichever sport that you partook in at the time. You walk on the campus at McNeese. Obviously, it's a hell of a lot bigger than being at the campus at Westgate. You're with probably 20,000 people or close to it. College football now, different dynamic. What's some of the adjustments or what's some of the things that you had to get used to leaving the high school ranks and now you're on campus with some grown men and along with that, about 20,000 people?
The biggest adjustment I would probably say would probably be like just finding time, managing your time through like academics, going to study lab and going to class, going to practice, finding time to eat, like all those things were pretty much put on you. And you had to find some type of way to squeeze all that in a day. Get to class on time and doing all that stuff, but that was the biggest adjustment, man. Just being by myself and having, just having to find like time to do things. And now I feel like that helped me now because I'm the type of guy, like I like to get there early and leave late, So just finding time to do the little things in college was a big help to me. So it was different at first, and for some reason I never went home. Like even though it was that close, I never went home. So I was always, and like being my freshman year, that's when my dad passed away. So once once that happened, it was like I don't even need to go back home. Like my whole outlook on New Iberia hadn't changed. So it was like ain't nothing there for me. You know what I'm saying? So why not stay here and put all my energy into being at McNeese, and that helped me a lot. Not coming home, staying focused, and just grinding it out with anything I did, whether it was academics or sports. I just always found time to put in the extra work and just try to be the best Spence I could be. So.
For sure, man. Not that it's a bad thing to go home, but it could serve as distractions and get you off your game a little bit, even though it was close. Definitely get it. You had that tunnel vision. Plus, man, you had your priorities straight. You said you had to take care of the class, handle that study hall, practice, whatever else that was going on for you, because it now becomes somewhat like a full-time job, even at the college level. You're doing something to help better yourself in that particular sport, and at the same time having to take care of business in the classroom. So, you're there, you're on campus, you're making those adjustments, you're getting to know people, you're probably seeing some different things, trying some new things. The new thing that you have now is playing wide receiver. What type of adjustment was that from, being a guy, up under the center in the shotgun? Now you're lining up wide and playing a different position. So what are some of the things? Did you have any like, I guess, tough times adjusting to that, or was it kind of a smooth transition?
It wasn't a smooth transition just because I didn't really play wide receiver. I played wide receiver my junior year at Westgate, but that was pretty much it. I had no true experience other than just being an athlete and getting the ball in my hands and taking off. So once I got to McNeese, it was one of those things where I was a good athlete, so they were just trying to find ways to put the ball in my hand because my wide receiver skills wasn't there yet because I had so limited time of playing wide receiver. So once I got to McNeese, I was still doing like the Wildcat offense, going in motion, getting reverses, playing a little bit of special teams. And eventually I was like, man, look, I'm gonna have to figure this thing out on the run. So I just kept on trying to find ways that I could make myself better as a wide receiver. And still till today, I'm still finding ways to get better at wide out. And I think that's a testament to me because I'm always trying to learn. I could have tapped out and like, I know it all. I don't need no help. I got this. But that's what I feel like has helped me grow my game to where it is now. I'm always willing to learn and, just grow at that position because it didn't come natural. Like right now I'm still trying to find ways, to make my routes better or do the little things to, get my game to where I'm elite. So it was a tough transition at first, but eventually, it kind of slowed down for me. The game slowed down, and my junior and senior year at McNeese I went crazy at wide out, and that eventually that's what got me looks into the NFL. So
yeah, oh yeah, I remember. Keeping up with you and stuff like that, seeing you do your thing, not only from the wide receiver position, but from the return specialist side of things. Real explosive, man. Bringing them things back, taking them to the house, doing all kind of crazy stuff. I know you got a bunch of things that records that you set in college and stuff like that when it comes to that all-purpose yards and touchdowns and stuff like that, man. So as you mature and you get better, was it a coach, was it a teammate that kind of took you under their wing at the college level to kind of help groom you into what you became in college and what you are now?
Yeah, definitely. Coach Fobbs was my first wide receiver coach. He's the head coach at Grambling right now, and he was like the discipline. He was like that father figure for me.
Yeah.
it was one of those things where he would always push me with the little things. He knew I had the talent. He knew I had the work ethic. But it was always those little things like finishing or, tucking the ball, little things like that is what helped me become a great player in college. And I bought in. And, he ended up leaving, and then Coach Tim Leger, he was my receiver coach for a while. And I felt like just all those different, people that helped mold me in college, it was like I never let go of those things. I still today, like I play and I train like I'm the guy that only had 5 or 6 offers or, coming up, got underlooked, like stuff like that. I still keep that chip on my shoulder. And every time I'm going back and I'm looking back at it, it was like the one thing that separated me was, I never wanted to feel like I didn't give it my all, you know what I'm saying? And I still do that now. I just like to compete, man. Everything I do, I like to compete. In college, 6 a.m. runs, I'm trying to finish first. I'm not trying to lose. Like, it was just, I had that competitive nature where, like, I'm just not going to let you beat me. And I feel like having that trait has helped me, still till today. So.
Yeah, because it's a grind. You're a better man than me, bro. Them 6 a.m. runs, y'all can have them, bro. I'm not trying to wake up that early in the morning. But like you said, all the things that we've been talking about thus far has been grooming you along. And then you, like I said, you did those things that McNeese accomplished a lot on the football field. You took care of business still in the classroom. You had guys like Coach Fobbs and then Leger continue to groom you, help you along the way, give you those little gems, those little tidbits that you could take with you. You said you still think about those things and focus on some of those things today. It didn't stop. That was genuine advice from some people that really cared about you, Diontae Spencer, not the football player, but the person. So you roll through McNeese, man, 4 years, you do your thing, and draft day comes along, we don't get a phone call. Did you have any idea, were you hoping to get drafted, to call to get drafted, or did you know there would be a team that would try to sign you as a free agent?
Well, I had talked the week of, and like your little draft grade got you going to the 5th to 7th round, and I'm like, man, maybe maybe this gonna happen, So I had the outlook to where I was gonna get drafted, and I had a good pro day, had a nice 40 time,
yeah,
so everything in my favor, and then draft goes on, I don't get the phone call, and it hurt a lot, but I knew that wasn't the end, you know what I'm saying? So whatever I had to do to, accomplish my goals, I was going to do it. So, I went to the Bears for a rookie mini camp tryout, didn't get signed. Then I went to St. Louis, the next day, worked out for them, and I got signed. And before you know it, you know what I'm saying, I'm in the NFL. I'm with the St. Louis Rams. I'm a rookie, a youngster in the league.
Yeah.
Thinking I know it all, thinking I got all. I know everything that's going to happen, you know what I'm saying? Like, thought I had then broke that ice, but, it didn't pan out the way I wanted. So had to, take a different route. And, so everybody's route is different. Everybody's path is different. It's just about how you want to embrace it and, keep moving forward. So.
I'm with you, man.
Yeah, it was a crazy journey, man. Crazy journey.
I'm with you, and we just scratching the surface of that crazy journey. And like you said, that draft day, you get your grade. You spoke to a couple of teams pre-draft. Had a good pro day. You ran at probably a 4.240 speed. You think speed would play? Speed would get you the opportunity. And the fact that you put in that hard work, and I'm sure your coaches, they co-signed for you when it came to those questions from professional teams. What type of worker is he? How is he as a person, so on and so forth. I'm sure you checked all of those boxes, but you still didn't get that call on draft day. And I know for me as a baseball player, I didn't get that call in the round that I was hoping to get drafted in. So it was like a dagger, man. It was like a dagger, wind out of your sails. But you got to work out with Chicago. It didn't work out. Then the very next day or soon after, you got to work out with St. Louis. They signed you. You said you thought you knew it all, but when you stepped on that NFL field, it's a whole different dynamic. So it didn't work out with St. Louis in the long run, but you got an opportunity to go to Canada and continue to pursue that dream. Different country, different style of football. Talk about them years in Canada, man. How did you adjust to? And the weather was totally different from New Iberia, Louisiana, being out there. So, but talk about those couple years you spent out there in Canada, man, especially your rookie season.
Well, first off, I didn't know nothing about Canada. First of all I knew is that Kerry Joseph played in the CFL, and that's about it. And, being a youngster, man, I ain't really traveled like that because I was always in sports. So I ain't really traveled outside the country or really took, big vacations and did all that stuff. So that was really my first time flying that far. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I was a little scared. Getting the whole passport process thing was different for me. So when I got to Toronto, Canada, it was different, totally different. The people, the culture, it was different, especially from New Iberia. So I was scared, man. I was scared, to be honest. And I wasn't making that much money at first. And looking back, I'm like, man, like some days I was like, mama, like, I don't think this gonna work. You know what I'm saying? So, but they was like, oh, stay out there. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? I'm like, you right. So, you know what I'm saying? I just made the best out of it, man, and put my head down and just grinded. And, every year, after my first 2 years, I was getting workouts for the league. It didn't work out how I wanted to with the team that I worked out with. Couldn't come to an agreement on like whether I was going to get a signing bonus or not. So I just kept on going back to the CFL and putting together productive seasons. And to the extent where I felt like, bro, this is it. You know what I'm saying? Like I've reached a peak where like I have to go back down and give it a shot, or I'm gonna have that doubt in my head, like what if I stayed, or what if I didn't go? But it was totally different. But like I said, I embraced it. I felt like going to Canada helped me as a person and as a player, just growing and becoming a man on my own. And it shaped me into being a better professional. So by the time I got back down here, my teammates and coaches like, Spence, I was matured, not just with my age, but my game. I had been matured overall. So Canada, man, was probably one of the best things that, ever happened to me. And I feel like it jump-started my career into where I'm at now.
For sure, man. Going out there, I've been to Canada once to play. It was in Ottawa. I know you played in Ottawa. It's cold and rainy, bro. I was out there in April, cold and rainy. There was a AAA team out there at the time I was playing. But to go there, like you said, it helped mold you as a man, and it made you a better football player, made you cultured. You saw something different that you wasn't used to. You spent a lot of time in Louisiana. You hadn't flown that far in your life. A lot of things played a part. You even called mama and it's like, I don't know about this. But the fact that you were willing to grind it out and stick it out every year got better. So talk about the different cities. You played in Toronto, then you played a year or so in Ottawa. Talk about the different dynamic after you got adjusted to the Canadian way and especially the football, the way it was played and things like that. Those last couple of years, how did you settle in and was able to be effective on the football field and keep your mind focused on the job at hand?
Looking back, being in Toronto, it was one of those things where it was humbling and it was fun at the same time, because I went into a situation where, I was young, and I was kind of learning the nuances of the CFL, the different rules and all that stuff like that. So it allowed me to kind of just learn the game, look from a different perspective, kind of just gravitate toward those older guys in the league that had success, and I was just picking their brain each and every day. A guy named Chad Owens, he used to pick me up to go to work every morning, and it would be like 6. He come get me at like 6:30, just so we can get there for like 7:15, 7:20, and we hitting the film, taking care of your body, little things like that. It helped me grow each year in the Canadian Football League, because not only was I getting better on the field, I was getting better off the field. And, that's when I started, being productive. People started to notice me. My debut, I went crazy. And then, like, my name started, buzzing. And then before you know it, it's like, should he stay in Toronto? Should he, go somewhere else for more money? Like, it was one of those things where, like, everything kind of hit me so fast because those 2 years went by quick. And then before you know it, I'm like, I go to Ottawa, and then they looking at me like I'm the man, you know what I'm saying? And now I got to live up to all these expectations. And, I ended up breaking the record, going to 1,000 yards. Like, once I went to Ottawa, that's where, my career kind of like elevated from being a good player to like a superstar, and like can't go to the grocery store or in public. And it was just like one of those things where life kind of hit me so fast, and it was just like, bro, am I him? Like, so I'm asking myself, I'm like, man, I might be him. And that kind of just took my game to a whole different level, because the success I had, I never let it get to like my head. I always felt like I'm putting in this work, for that success. And it's kind of one of those things, once you taste a little bit of that, it's like you just want more and more and more and more. And that's what eventually led me to coming back, because I could have, my last year in the CFL, I could have been the highest paid receiver, stayed in Ottawa, like that was becoming home for me. And I was like, should I take this money or should I take this opportunity to, what I'm saying? And I had it saved up to where I was able to say, like, hey, if I don't make it in if I don't make it in the NFL, man, I'm always welcome back in the CFL, So it was one of those things where it was a tough decision for me, just because, I was getting settled and becoming that guy, what I'm saying? And my career was taking off out there, and for me to just say, all right, I'm leaving and I'm going back to the NFL, where, I got rejected the first time I went and it didn't work out. And I'm like, man, what's wrong with my game? Like, and it wasn't nothing that I did wrong. It was just the NFL is a business. So going there, kind of learning a little bit of that business, and eventually seeing how these teams and everything operates, it helped me making that transition back to the NFL much easier. But yeah, bro, if you'd have came down there, you'd have been like, all right, now Spence, this man going, he might be Ottawa. You know what I'm saying? Those things where we could have stepped out, got food, and just don't worry about it, like one of those type of things. So I was real comfortable there, and you could have tell I was comfortable just by my game and how I was taking off and having fun and dancing and all that. Man, it was one of those things where, like, all right, this might be it. I'm having those conversations in my head, like, bro, what, leave for what? You know what I'm saying? It was one of those things, man, where I had to swallow my pride and be like, look, you know what you want, go get it. You know what I'm saying? It was one of those things where I didn't want to sell myself short. And I took that leap of faith, and it paid off.
Sure. I'm with you on that, man. And you said it, you stayed humble, but you said you reached that superstar status out there in Ottawa. You could have got the big head. You could have done a lot of things. You said you were getting treated. You were the man. You were getting that red carpet treatment everywhere that you went, and you started to have fun. That's one of the biggest things I saw from you watching video. I caught you on TV a couple times. You started to have fun, man, and that's what it's all about. You took care of your business. You made it fun. You stayed humble. And then now here we fast forward into 2018, 2019. You get that call. You get that call from Pittsburgh. Talk about that, man. Talk about that, and you making that decision. You said you could have taken that money and been probably the highest paid receiver in the league, or bet on yourself and take another shot at the NFL. Talk about that process, man. I know it was a hard decision, especially being about 25, 26 years old at the time, 27 maybe, approaching 27. You get that phone call from Pittsburgh. You got this pile of money. You run the city. You got the NFL dream. Talk about that, man. Talk a little bit about that decision.
Man, that decision was tough. It was real tough because I couldn't be selfish in the situation. You know what I'm saying? It was one of those things where I had to put everything to the side and not just focus on me, but focus on my family. Yeah. And go what allowed me to be in that position. You know what I'm saying? So it was one of those things, man, where I was 50-50 with it at a point. I was like, should I stay? Should I leave? Get released or go back? What's next? And in this profession, sometimes it can't be just this. You gotta weigh your options. And
sure.
I prayed on it, I slept on it, and I was just like, man, I feel like this is the best decision that I can make right now. Maybe 2 years before I wouldn't have been ready. 2 years, it was just, I felt like God had put everything in front of me, and he said, man, this is the time. Being 20, I think I was 26 at the time going into it. And I was like, man, this might be my last shot. So, I worked out for 3 teams, the Vikings, Buffalo, and the Steelers. And I was like, man, look, Pittsburgh, they offered me a little signing bonus. And it wasn't what the CFL was offering, but I was just like, man, look, I got to do this. You know what I'm saying? So I slept on it and I made a decision. I was like, I'm going to sign with Pittsburgh and, I'm ready. I felt like everything that I had leading into that moment, I was ready. And I was confident in myself, confident in my craft, confident in my ability to go out there and produce and play with the best of the best at the highest stage. I was ready. And once I made that decision, nothing else could tell me I wasn't going to make it. You know what I'm saying? Because I was that prepared, physically, mentally. I felt like everything that I had been through in my life had prepared me for that moment. And it wasn't too big, wasn't too small. So it was tough because you got to think about if I don't make it, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, dang, was it all for nothing or did I make the wrong decision? But once I signed, and I never had those thoughts. Once I made the decision, I was like, look, I'm going to make the team. I'm going to do this. Whatever it's going to take, I'm going to do it. So that decision was, I can still think about it right now, the moment I'm getting ready to sign the pay, I'm like, let's do it. You know what I'm saying? So it was tough, but I think God had a big part in clearing my mind, clearing my thoughts, and me choosing the right thing for me and my family. So.
For sure, man. It's definitely tough. You're thinking about financial security, like we talked about, having that money in hand. You're well known in that city, so you're getting taken care of to the utmost. We got a little signing bonus, but ain't no security, no job security, no financial security. So juggling those. But, that dream of playing in the NFL, man, you were hot at the time. You were doing your thing. So you might as well ride that wave as far as you can for as long as you can and see what happens. So we talking about the Steelers signing you, and you're probably one of the last cuts, if not the last cut. It's like, damn, here we go again. Did you know, when it happened, was that, were you disappointed, or did you kind of know, I know somebody's going to call me right away?
So, I had spoke to Coach Tomlin, and their plan for me was to go on practice squad. So they was going to put me on practice squad, and he was like, it could be week 1, could be week 3, week 4. We don't know what week that you can be up, but we want to keep you around. We like the game. We feel like you can help this team in the long run. And I'm like, man, I had a developed relationship with some of the guys on the team. They're my friends, my brothers. And I was like, man, everything came full circle. I felt like I was right where I needed to be. And, once I didn't clear waivers, the other teams had an opportunity to pick me up. And I had a great preseason, and that's what, gave me the outlook of like, man, maybe I possibly won't be here. Somebody might pick me up. And before you know it, the next day, I clear waivers, and I'm basically allowed, every team is allowed to have a deal on if they wanted to pick me up or not. So I get that phone call from the Denver Broncos. John Elway called me on the phone, and he's like, look, you're a Denver Broncos, how you doing? We want you to be our returner and play some slot for us. And I'm like, what? I'm like, what is going on? You know what I'm saying? And my mind was racing, man. I was literally I was crying. I'm in the parking lot crying, bro, because it was just that feeling of knowing that you're wanted. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
The work that you had been put in. I'm on the phone with a legend now. I'm on the phone with a legend. And mind you, they've never seen me in person. They've never, I hadn't talked to anybody from that organization. So that's just a testament to what the body of work I had been put out in front of me, and whether they call somebody and what type of guy is he, what type of player is he, what all those things played a factor into that. So that's why, I say, you got to carry yourself with the utmost standard and the utmost respect, because you never know who's watching or what's going to happen. Because, in this industry, man, things happen quick. And just before you know it, I was on a plane. I'm flying into Denver, and I'm a Denver Bronco. And I'm like, all that work and all that time and all that, everything that I had been put into, seizing that opportunity in that moment, it was in front of me. And I'm like, I can't let it, I can't waste this opportunity. So, like I said, man, when I was in the CFL, I was preparing like I was in the league. I'm playing kick return, punt return. I'm the starting X receiver. No matter what it was, I'm not coming off that field. And that's just how I train myself mentally and physically, to where when that call and that moment came up, I was going to be ready. And, like I said, man, it happened unknowingly and unexpected. The phone call came, but like I said, I was ready. I was ready for it. So
yeah. And you answered the phone. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what name or number popped up or what city.
Oh. John Elway. I'm like, oh. But it was a cool, man. It was a cool moment for me, and for me to, what I'm saying, call my family and tell them, because all they seen is the Pittsburgh Steelers released me, and they're like, well, what's going on? What's going on? And I'm like, look, I got claimed by the Broncos. So they're like, I'm explaining to them, I'm emotional, and, just sharing that moment with my family, man, it was one of those things where you really can't explain it. I was just extremely happy. Put it like that. I was extremely happy.
Show them tears of joy, man. Them tears of joy, all the hard work and the effort that you put into your game. And you talked about them not seeing you, not really even knowing who you are. You know, word of mouth, man. The fact that they probably asked questions. They knew how you took care of business. And that's probably somebody that they wanted on their team because they knew you was going to go out there and be a professional each and every day. And now you're in Denver, in a mile-high state, the mile-high city. That elevation is different. You know, you have to get used to breathing in that. And you're a speed guy. You probably thought you was out of shape when you first got up to Denver and couldn't breathe. Talk about that adjustment, being up that way.
As soon as I got out here, so I get off the plane that night. I think I landed like at, I don't know, 8:30, 9 o'clock that night. It's the next morning. So I get out there, and like you said, with the elevation, the punch, the ball, it carries. You know, it carries in the air longer, it stays in the air longer, further distance. So I'm out there catching punch. And I get there, and I'm like, they shooting the jug machine. It's just me back there. I catch like 30. I think I might have caught like 25 to 30 punts in a row. They got the media out there, you know, new guy, supposedly be the new kick return, and the punt returner, cameras on me and stuff. I'm catching 25, 30 punts out there. And I'm like, I'm not even running. You know what I'm saying? I'm running, but I'm not really running. You know how you tracking a punt, you just I'm like, bro, I'm tired. Like I'm gassed. And I'm like, I don't know what it is. I thought at first I was like, I gotta take this visor off. I had a visor on I'm like, maybe the visor, like the air, like it ain't circulating right. But they told me that you know, that's normal for somebody to come and not feel like they're in shape. So I had to fight that. And then it was like, you usually catch like nosebleeds within like 2 weeks or a week of you being here. So I'm chilling. I'm like, man, I'm at practice. I'm like, bro, I ain't even catch no nosebleed. Like, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? I ain't catch none of that. Like 2 months. But it took like 2 months. I'm at home. I'm watching TV on the couch. I'm just sitting there. Next thing you know, nosebleed. I'm talking about not the normal nosebleed. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm talking like gushing. I'm like, bro, something wrong. I call the trainers. They like, just put some towel in your nose, hold it back. I'm like, bro, I'm like, I might need to have to go to the hospital. Like, there's blood everywhere in here. But they was like, from the elevation, that's normal to have like those type of nosebleeds. Yeah. I'm gonna be real with you, bro. I was like, I don't know how long this gonna last, or how long I'm gonna feel like I'm out of shape. But it was different in the sense of, it felt like I was running one of those masks on. Yeah. But I got used to it, and now, I mean, you can tell that, you know, you're in elevation, but I kind of got used to it now, so it don't affect me as much.
That's what's up. That's a huge adjustment, you know, being up that way. Arizona's the same way. You know, I've played in Denver, played in Arizona, so I'm familiar with that. You're there now, man. You're on the squad. You're an NFL football player. You know, all the grind, all the hard work. You're strapping it up, bro. First game. Talk about that first game when you step on that field. You know, you get back there to return your first kick. Talk about that, man. Leading up to that, talk about how you felt once you spat it on. You spat it up. You got the bazooka swag going on. Big Onk swag going on. Talk about that first NFL game, bro.
First game, Monday Night Football. The whole world is watching, and we playing the Oakland Raiders in Oakland. So I'm like, but this is my first. And I feel like the moment, because I didn't play in like Grey Cups and stuff like that. Played in some big games, but knowing the fact that we was a Monday night game and we was the only game playing and the whole world is watching on Monday night. And I'm just like, as a kid, I grew up watching Monday night. You know what I'm saying? I'm like trying to put myself in like the reversal, like, or what they saying, or what they like, what's going on TV? You know what I'm saying? Like, is the camera zoomed in? Like, it was crazy because, like, that's something I never thought about. I had never, like, I just was like, man, I want to be an NFL player. I want to be in the league. And I never thought about, like, well, I'm going to be playing on Monday night. I want to play on Monday night. And Monday night is a big deal. So that first game we in Oakland, that's my Uncle Ray. That's his favorite team. Going against me that matter what, but he might. But being in the black hole, you got the fans. They dressed up in them costumes. I'm scared to even turn around and like even look at the stands because, but they calling me any and everything. Hey, drop. I'm just hearing all kind of stuff, and I'm like, this is it. Like this, everything that's around me right now doesn't matter because where I'm at right now is where I dream to be. And just going out there and catching that first punt, that first kickoff, like starting the game on kickoff, I'm like, man, this is crazy. You know what I'm saying? So I just had to take it all in, and now it's my way of life. You know what I'm saying? Like, now I was just like, I go into it just thinking like, man, like, I'm here now. You know what I'm saying? So it was crazy though, that Monday night game.
Was the ground shaking? Was the ground shaking? It felt like it was shaking?
Everything was shaking. Hands, head, body, bro. I was out there. I ain't gonna lie to you, I was a little nervous, bro, because I'm like, man, all my people watching this, like everybody, the whole B-Town watching this game. And I had a good game. And it was just one of those things where I was like, after the game, I was relieved. I was like, whew, like, that's it. Hope, you know what I'm saying? Like, I done finished my first NFL game, and I just felt stress-free, relaxed, and I was like, let's just keep stacking it. Just keep stacking these games, and let's just keep making the best out of it, the best out of it. So.
For sure, you jumped off the porch, man, and being in that game, being in the black hole, playing against the Raiders, Monday night, everybody watching, a whole lot of stuff. It's definitely normal to have those nerves going through, especially being a rookie, first game out there. Talk about the difference in speed, though. Did the speed of the game surprise you at the NFL level, or were you expecting it to be exactly what it was?
The speed is different. Not in like like everything's moving fast. It's just getting in and out of the huddle, getting lined up, reading the defense. Like little things like that, having to look at reads and adjustments and just checks and all that stuff. Like, that's what makes the game faster because you're always thinking, you're constantly thinking. And, now it's to the point where everything's slowed down. Like, when I went to the CFL, I thought the same thing. I'm like, bro, like, what the hell? Like, this shit moving fast. Like, this game is going too fast. And then now I look at it, I'm like, okay, now my year 4 in the CFL, I'm like, but this kind of getting too easy. You know what I'm saying? And now that's the adjustment I feel like I made now. That's to my rookie year. Things was fast, moving fast. And I was playing good, but to a point where I wasn't comfortable good. Now it's slowed down for me, and it's like, all right, let's make that next jump. Let's make the jump to where it feels like I'm in the CFL year 2, year 3, and things have slowed down for me. And now my play is actually getting better from things slowing down. And I feel like that's like, high school, and, you go to high school 4 years, you're supposed to get better. You go to college 4 years, by the time your senior year come around, you better be dominating. And I feel like those little steps that I'm taking now is going to get me to that point in the league to where I'm going to be taking off and the game is going to slow down for me.
For sure, man. I'm with you, man. And everybody talk about that. I had Mark Roman on one of my episodes, and he was talking about how he's able to slow the game down, just the way you said it, being able to process that information and make adjustments. The quicker and the more you can process the information and know the responsibility not only of you, but the people around you, makes the game a hell of a lot easier for you. Going into that year, that rookie year, you said you got that first kick, return that first kick, had a good game. What felt better, man? What felt better, returning that first kick or catching that first pass?
Definitely catching the first pass. Against Jacksonville, Joe Flacco. I remember 9-yard game. I remember that. I'm going to remember that for the rest of my life. You know what I'm saying? That's first NFL catch from a Joe Flacco Super Bowl winning QB. And just, man, it was like one of those things because, like, everybody sees me as a returner, but I feel like in the CFL, I was a 1,000-yard receiver, taking off at wideout. So coming here, like, I'm constantly trying to prove myself to where people will see me as like a receiver and not just a returner. So catching that first pass is like, all right, I can do this. You know what I'm saying? This is the same. You know what I'm saying? It's easy. So definitely catching that first pass was way better than catching that first kickoff up front.
For sure, man. Definitely. You're going up against a DB, whoever it might be, and the fact that you get yourself free to catch that pass, it's a lot more work. You know what I'm saying? On a kick, the ball's coming to you. You got a little time to adjust and decide what you're going to do. Aside from that, man, we got a few more minutes. Aside from that, that first year we're talking about, we haven't quite started that second year yet. Monday, September 14th, will be the start of your second season. Adjusting to the NFL life, who was somebody that kind of took you under their wing? Whether it was a veteran player or somebody from the front office to kind of help groom you into getting used to being an NFL football player?
Obviously, just going to the CFL was kind of like a stepping stone or a source of help for me to be comfortable in the NFL setting, because all those things kind of just molded me into being a professional and just understanding the nuances of how things work. But Tom was in the league for a while, so I got to see how things kind of work with him a little bit, and just going to some of the games and just seeing the schedule of how they're always at the facility, stuff like that. I was aware of, and I was able to kind of had that understanding before I put myself into the situation. And then, just talking to me and James Conner, that's like one of my best friends. I met him in Pittsburgh, and he's one of those guys. He's big on like just taking care of your body, mentally having your mind and your body sharp. You know what I'm saying? Just understanding the game and understanding where you're at. So that's another help. When I went to Pittsburgh, that transition was easy because I was around him a lot, and for him it was football. So that kind of put me in that zone. So and just like on my team now, I have a lot of me and the older guys, Kareem, people, Justin Simmons, like guys like that that's been in the league and had success. That's my boy. So they always, showing me, what I can do. Whether it's Kareem been in the league going on 11 years, so he's kind of like helped me with the transition off the field. Also, just ways that I can save money and finding the CPA and like stuff like that, taxes and picking his brain, just talking to him a lot. So that's kind of made my transition, much easier. So.
That's huge, man, to have some veterans and some guys that don't mind sharing the knowledge with you and not think, oh, man, he's coming here to try to take my job or whatever it may be that some guys might think about when a new guy comes in that shows some ability to go out there and play at a high level and produce and help the team. So you mentioned a few guys, man, and now hopefully one day you're going to be that guy helps bring along a younger player and help him learn the game and adjust to NFL life, not only on the football field, but off. I think a lot of the business that you take care of off the field allows you to excel and do what you need to do on the field. So if you have certain distractions away from the game, it's tough. Some guys can do it. Some guys can go out there and wild out and do whatever they need to do off the field and still produce on the field. But for most of us, we got to take care of business on both sides. You might get away with it once or twice, but over the long haul, man, you ain't gonna continue to live. You can't continue to live like that. So, but man, before I let you go, I know I got some questions I want to ask you, but I want to talk about before I get into those questions. I want to talk about the mindset you have. You're on the sideline. Your squad is on defense. They trying to make a stop, and here it is. Third down comes along. What goes through your head, man? What goes through your head when you know you're about to go back there and return a kick and help your team get some good field position? Talk about the preparation for you when it comes to going out there to return a kick or a punt, but mainly a punt.
To be honest, it's not that really much thinking that's going on in my head. The first thing I do is I tell myself, secure the catch, and put my team in a position to where they can get on offense. That's my first thing. Second is once I secure it, be smart with the football, protect the football, and lastly, let my ability take over. Once I do those two things, I feel like that's when I'm at my best with the ball in my hand. So for me, I don't really do too much thinking. The repetitions in practice and, just catching punts allows me to go out there and trust myself to where I'm not doing that much thinking. And as a punt return and a kick return, you have to know the game before the game is even takes place. And when I say that is I do so much film study on, the kicker's approach, the punter's approach, where the ball's going to go, where he likes to kick. Or is he a directional kicker? Is he a hang time guy? Like all those different things allows me to go out there, study, put myself in a position to where on Sundays and Monday night, I'm going out there and I'm playing. And that's what I feel like puts me at an advantage because me and my special team coach, we meet up every single morning and we kind of play the game within the game. And that's been a tremendous help also for me. Just in my early career, with Denver.
And for those of you listening, especially young athletes, Diontae Spencer dropping these gems talking about preparation. Maybe in high school and some guys may be able to get away with it in college by just going out there and playing. But if you're trying to make some money and make a career out of whatever sport it is that you're playing right now, attention to detail is huge. Doing certain things to know and understand what it is that you have to do to put yourself and your team in a successful situation is huge. We can't just throw on the pads and the helmet and the spikes and go out there and play, man. We gotta have a certain mindset. We gotta take care of our business a certain way. You sound like D Spence, bro. You sound like you're real calm before a kick. You don't do nothing to get you geeked up. What's going on in that mind? I know you're kind of staying calm and not thinking about too much, but man, you thinking about bringing one to the house. Yeah. Tell me about. What's going on in your head? That Boosie going? Who going on in your head right now? Who you listening to, man? When you about to return that punt or that kick and bring it to the house, what gets you geeked up for that?
Man, this gonna sound crazy. I'm really not a big music guy, but before the game, it's like beats. It's just like I don't really like to play the words. I just like to put on beats and kind of just get in my own little zone, kind of like just talk to myself and put myself in a situation where like I'm creating the energy. You know what I'm saying? It's like let me create the vibe. I don't want to listen to what he's saying or what she's saying. I want to create the vibe for myself, and whether it's I'm feeling myself and I might just, I'm feeling myself, just listening to the beat. And That just put me in the zone to where I'm like, I get on the field, I'm like, man, nobody came at me. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those things where like you put yourself in like a situation and you know what's gonna happen. So I'm like, oh, I can't just come. I go to the crib. I already know what I'm gonna do. I already know because I didn't play that in my head. I didn't talk about it. I might go 100 in the game. I might, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
Stuff in that situation, and I'm always like free. I'm a big freestyler for the game, like, and I'm always dancing, obviously, but I'm a big freestyler. I like to listen to beats, and I like to create my own little vibe for the game.
For sure, man. You seem like you got everything, I guess, pretty much set in your routine, the way you like to do things, which is huge. It keeps you focused and knowing what you got to do to take care of business. We know the season about to start in about the next 8 days, September 14th for you. Monday Night Football once again, just like last year in your rookie season, man. Before I let you go, D Spence, man, I got 5 questions I'm gonna ask you. The best answer that comes to mind, the quickest answer that comes to mind, and then we'll wrap this thing up. So if you got a couple more minutes, man, I'd like to throw these questions out there to you and see where you are with those. So, and I know you may have answered this one already, but you got any superstitions, man, when it comes to you preparing for a game or during a game?
If the socks that I wear before, like, if I'm gonna wear these socks the first game of the season, and I go like I have a good game in them, I'm wearing them exact same socks the next game. I got these wristbands, these low-kai wristbands on. I usually keep 3 on my wrist the entire season. If say I have a bad game, new ones coming on. If I have a good game, I'm gonna keep these on. Or I might just flip them and rotate them in a different direction, switch them up, and just before, like, I have to be, like, I don't like things on my arms. If I do, I'm gonna put a sleeve on my left arm, but I don't like to have tape, or I don't tape my ankles. And lastly, will probably be my gloves. So I'm weird about, like, my glove situation. I usually have, going into a game, I usually have like 3 pairs. I wear a pregame, and if pregame going good and I'm feeling it, I'm gonna wear those in the game. And then sometimes I usually pregame, switch gloves, and then switch at halftime. But they gotta be the same gloves. It's not gonna be a different color, the exact same gloves. So I'm an all white guy. I like to have white gloves. And if I don't have white gloves on, I'm just feeling it that day.
Yeah, I'm with you. I have some stupid superstitions like that as well. And that's some of the things that kind of caters to that routine that you have and make sure that you're feeling good and playing good, like Uncle would say. Number 2, man. Second question: the best city or stadium you've played in thus far?
Best city, Toronto. Best stadium will probably be the Vikings. Last year's playing stadium. It was a pretty dope stadium. New stadium at that. But yeah, that's probably the Vikings, and the best city I've played in probably be Toronto.
For sure. Favorite athlete of all time?
Prime time.
That's what's up. He was a man amongst boys, not only on the football field, but he did his thing on the baseball field too. So, man, I got 2 more questions for you, bro, and then I'm gonna let you roll. I know you're a busy man, so home or away? Like playing at home or on the road? Away?
For some reason, I don't know why, I just like switching atmospheres. Yeah, I don't know why, I just like switching atmospheres, but I like playing away. And I think I just like traveling too. Like, just the feeling of just traveling and going to somebody else's home and beating them. So I like playing away.
All in out. I'm with you. I'm an away guy too for those same reasons, going to different cities. Being able to show out and shut that home crowd up and bring a win back to the crib. So last question, man. What's your best memory thus far during your short career in the NFL?
Best memory will probably be going to the Houston Texans. A lot of my family came out to that game. We played in Houston. We beat Houston. They were just coming off beating the Patriots. They was riding that wave. We came to Houston. We beat them. Got to see my family, and we got the dub. So it was just a good experience of seeing my family. Just to see me out in the field and my nephew and all that stuff. So that's pretty dope.
Man, what that ticket list looked like, though. How many tickets you gave away?
Ticket list that week was like 20 plus. It was like 20 plus. At least 15 to 20 plus. That week was. Let's not talk about that week.
Hey, I'll let that ride. But, I mean, how many times you get a chance to play close to home unless you play New Orleans, and stuff like that, you being in Denver, being far away from the crib. So, man, look, I definitely appreciate you hopping on the podcast, man. I know you're a busy man. Y'all getting ready for the season. New Iberia Parish, surrounding areas. Everybody, tune in September 14th, Monday Night Football. We got our boy Diontae Spencer that's going to be out there for his second full season in NFL. D Spence, bro, we got to take a few of them home this year, and we got to catch a few of them this year, bro. So, look, man, much love, continued success, bro. This is the League Talk Podcast, and we out of here.
Appreciate it.
For sure, appreciate you.